are about a month away from the NBA trade deadline kicking off, and while Boston is arguably the best roster in the NBA right now, could they possibly add one or two guys that could help the Boston Celtics do what has not been done since 2017, 2018, and go back-to-back as NBA champions? We're going to break down what move the Boston Celtics have actually been linked to ahead of the NBA trade deadline. Nothing too crazy, but it is worth mentioning. Let's talk about this. Want the Celtics to make a move? Go on ahead and like this video for me. Super easy. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys want another player to beat a Boston Celtics uniform this year. There's only a few things Boston is legally allowed to do with the new CBA, but I do think this move could possibly make a lot of Boston Celtics fans happy because, yes, it would mean bringing back a player that did previously play for the Boston Celtics. Well, at least in the preseason, Celtics have been linked to Lonnie Walker, possibly bringing him back to the United States and bringing him back to the NBA. Obviously, free agency did not work out for the way Lonnie Walker, the way that he wanted to. He did previously play for the Brooklyn Nets last year. Then the Celtics signed him to an Exhibit 10 to kind of try him out, see how he fit with Boston. But overall, to sign him means that Boston would have gone $10 million over the already luxury tax line that they are flirting with pretty heavily right now. But a recent report does show that Boston could possibly be interested in bringing Lonnie Walker back by his deadline, and he would be a less than $2 million player. Here's where Mark Stein does link Boston Celtics and Lonnie together. He's drawing NBA interest and can be brought out of his European League contract in the EuroLeague by any NBA team until February 18th, which I do believe is after the trade deadline. Potential suitors said to include the 76ers, the Timberwolves, the Miami Heat, the Denver Nuggets, and the Boston Celtics, which of course we do know that was Boston. That was his last team before he did end up going to the EuroLeague. And ultimately, I think this was the best case scenario for a guy like Lonnie Walker to go to the EuroLeague because he can still get the reps that he needs. He can still showcase to NBA teams what he's been doing in the EuroLeague as well, but he's not taking a significant pay cut in the NBA, nor playing with a practice squad for the remainder of the season. Because right now, across the pond, he's doing phenomenally. His shooting statistics are through the roof, especially that 41% from downtown. That's definitely what's going to be drawing the interest from Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens. You know, Mazzulla ball. We know he was a sharpshooter for Boston in the preseason, which is also what led Boston to make a very tough decision and move on from him. However, his three-point percentage unfortunately did drop because he played 4 games in the preseason, but only 2 of those games he played less than 5 minutes. So Lonnie Walker had to try and make the best that he could with the 2 games that he actually got viable minutes with. And when he played against the Houston Rockets, the Portland Trailblazers, he ended up dropping 3 back-to-back threes, which is really what Joe Mazzulla was looking for. But the only thing I do possibly have here about Lonnie Walker potentially coming back to the Boston Celtics, just from what I saw in the preseason, is that Lonnie Walker, when he does enter in a ball game, needs to take about 3-4 shots to start to find his rhythm. And when you are coming in as a substitute, you don't know how many open shots you have to finally find your rhythm. That's why Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard work so well coming off the bench for Boston, is because they can pick up their pace immediately, drain a 3 from 30-plus feet if they need to. They can easily come in, start defending Luka Doncic in the NBA Finals, even though they haven't logged a minute just yet. Lonnie Walker, it takes a minute, and we are going to bring him back for his offensive abilities primarily. Defensively, definitely needs a little bit of work to be a secure two-way player. But how could Boston possibly bring back Lonnie Walker? They would have to move on from Jaden Springer. And this isn't a deal breaker. This isn't monumental. We knew this. Jaden Springer right now, he's averaging one of the lowest minutes on Boston's roster, but he's making more money than about 7 players on the Celtics roster right now. He's making $4 million, which is way too much to be paying Jaden Springer for the Celtics at least, just because they're well over that luxury tax line. But we also did note that with Mark Stein, And what he said about bringing back Lonnie Walker is that there's several other teams interested. The Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets, Timberwolves, Sixers. So when you do look at other teams that are interested in bringing a guy back to the NBA, they're going to be able to offer him more. Doesn't have to be substantial. Why? Because he probably wants to come back to America and play for the National Basketball Association rather than playing in the EuroLeague. At least I would. So I know that teams that aren't dealing with the same financial status that we are may be able to give Lonnie Walker a little bit more of a prize selection price than Celtics would. But the Boston Celtics do have the upper hand, just being, in my opinion, the best team in the NBA, and the fact that they kind of already had his number. And Lonnie, going back to the preseason, really liked playing for Boston. This is a championship organization coming off a championship year, and it means a lot to put on this jersey. And you kind of come in here with the mindset of a champion, not skipping no steps, being the best of your capability. And you owe it to your teammates each and every day to be 100% and be prepared mentally, physically, and all of the above. So that's why I really like bringing back Lonnie Walker. He knows what it means to be a Boston Celtic. He knows that he wants to come in and help this team win. Not anywhere in there did he say, I want to be, the star. I want to be Jason Tatum. In that quote, he said, I want to help my teammates. I want to help them win a championship. Well, that's why I think I would really like this move if Brad Stevens ended up bringing back Lonnie Walker to the Boston Celtics. But that's just my opinion. Of course, the reason why we have this show is that I talk, you talk, and then we talk about it. So how do you guys feel? Do you want Lonnie Walker back in Boston? Go on ahead and like this video down below. While you guys are doing that, I do want to tell you just really, really quick about our sponsor here on today's show. And, of course, that is my favorite, Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I play Prize Picks every single game day, and you guys should too. Why? Because over 10 million active users play it right now in over 30 different states, including Cali, Georgia, Florida, and Texas. Not to mention the promotions are a fun reason why I keep coming back every single day. Every Tuesday, you've got Taco Tuesday, which is a nice discount on a player's projected stats up to 20% off. And then every Friday is Flex Friday, win or your money back guaranteed up to $20. And we do know that right now there's a lot of playoff implications going on, collegiate and professional. So I'm going to go on ahead and look at week 18 for football and see what we've got cooking here. I will take Derrick Henry to have more than 93.5 rushing yards and Joe Burrow to have more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. These are going to be my Prize Picks for this upcoming weekend slate. If you guys want to go on ahead and make your own, all you guys have to do is just download the Prize Picks app, use promo code CLNS, and this will give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code CLNS to give you guys $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. It's extremely easy to play. Go on ahead and test your skills out right now by downloading that Prize Picks app. Why? Well, Prize Picks, run your game. Now, did the Boston Celtics get great news? Around the league, of course, other teams will be making a lot of moves that don't have really anything to do with Boston Celtics roster, but maybe their schedule. And a recent report makes me think that the Miami Heat could be struggling with this upcoming move. Is the Miami Heat intimidated by the Boston Celtics? Obviously, you guys know, if you get on X and you get on, the Heat Report by Chat Sports and Nick Roloff, Jimmy Butler is not happy in Miami. He is, in fact, requesting a trade to play for any other team other than Miami. And when they're trying to grasp this idea of losing their star player, well, there is one NBA insider that's maybe hinting that could the Miami Heat really want to face Boston without Jimmy Butler? Well, Bill Ryder had to say the Heat operate even now as Butler looks to force his way to any other NBA team under the idea that they are a real contender. They believe avoiding the play-in tournament is critical. They acknowledge the Celtics are the East's best team, but don't view them as unbeatable. Yeah, okay. They point out, as they have for years, their track record of playoff success post-LeBron came when most around the NBA doubled their chances, as they do today. So you're telling me the Miami Heat thinks that the Boston Celtics are unbeatable. Well, obviously, we're not, 72-0. We're not 82-0. We're obviously able to be beaten because we have been beaten. But you're telling me Miami feels confident without Jimmy Butler they can take down the Boston Celtics? No. No, honey. This is not the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals anymore. Our team has developed. Our team now has a ring since that series has happened. And if I recall, we already played the Miami this year and beat them by double digits. And that was without Jimmy Butler. Don't even bring it back to last year when Boston won 4-1 in the playoffs without Jimmy Butler. This makes the Miami Heat worse, in my opinion. Depending on who they possibly get in return for a trade, you losing Jimmy Buckets is not going to help your team become better, in my opinion. And we know that Jimmy Butler right now, he wants to break up with Pat Riley. And that's okay. That happens sometimes in the NBA, but I'm not exactly sure which team he's going to go to. But I believe it's not going to be anybody on the East Coast. Because recently, a story came out from Brian Windhorst and Shams Charania. Jimmy Butler has indicated to the Miami Heat that he wants the team to trade him and is open to playing anywhere other than Miami. Well, we know he's not coming to Boston, so we're not making that type of video. But Boston thinks that the Boston Celtics aren't unbeatable, but you're about to go play Boston without Jimmy Butler. I think that rivalry started because of Jimmy Butler and because of how intense those Eastern Conference final appearances were. So, with now the opportunity to have Jimmy Butler out of the Eastern Conference, I personally view this more as great news for Boston. I'm not even worried about, we think we could take on the Boston Celtics. We'll deal with that when it comes. To have Jimmy Butler out of the Eastern Conference is great news for Boston. It really is. While I think that rivalry has died off just a little bit in this last season or two because Boston has been so great. And now we have to worry about other teams like the New York Knicks who keep trading and the Cleveland Cavaliers who keep extending. Depending on who Jimmy Butler gets traded for and who comes to the Eastern Conference from possibly the West Coast, that could be a different story. But as of right now, Boston Celtics fans should be ecstatic that Jimmy Butler does not want to be on the Miami Heat anymore because that pretty much means he will not be in the Eastern Conference anymore. But that's my last question for you guys today. Do you want Jimmy Butler out of the Eastern Conference? I love a good rivalry. I really, really do. But if Jimmy's not happy, I want Jimmy to be happy on another team. I could see him really fitting well with a Devin Booker and a Kevin Durant, the Phoenix Suns. Maybe go give Steph Curry another asset to help him win on his last leg in the NBA, or maybe a LeBron James. But the whole point is, I don't want to see Jimmy Butler anymore unless we're playing a Western Conference team in the NBA Finals. That will be a different story. Type Y for yes, type in for no. If anything does happen that involves the Boston Celtics, we'll talk about it right here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. All you guys have to do is subscribe.